Hey, hi everybody. Happy Monday, and this is going to be exciting today. It's a subject that is near and dear to me because of my, sorry, I'm just trying to center this, because of my background. And I'll give you a little bit of background on myself. We're going to be talking about the insurance game, a real problem for anybody that has any health problems, whether it be fibromyalgia or other health conditions. So I'm going to go over a number of things with you. My background is after I graduated from college, got my undergraduate graduate degree. I started working actually as a teacher, secondary school, coach. I taught science and history, coached a number of different sports after I had played themselves. After about 5 years, I had the opportunity to move out to Arizona, and I did. And in doing so, I also said, well, I'm going to take a chance to see what else is out there. And so what I did was I actually went on an interview from a friend of mine who actually I saw an article in the paper that he said he's looking for someone that had been in teaching and coaching and would like to work with teachers. I went, well, that's great. It's my experience. That's my background. So what I did was I went and interviewed. It turned out to be an insurance company. At that time, it was called Horace Mann Insurance. I think it's still in existence. And Horace Mann, it was named after Horace Mann, public school teachers, so forth. That's what we specialized in. And it was a multi-level type of insurance. I sold life insurance, auto, homeowners, renters insurance. I sold group health insurance, individual health insurance. I sold annuities, retirement plans, both tax sheltered and non-tax sheltered, a variety of different things, and had a wonderful time, a great experience working with teachers. But I did find out something. That is that when I first started out with Horace Mann itself, it was a smaller company, and it really concentrated on working with the teachers and their families. But then it started being bought out by bigger companies. I'm not going to mention the names. And when that happened, that personal touch, so to speak, was being put on the shelf, and it was more and more big business. And I always use the phrase, look, when you buy insurance, you're not in good hands, and you're not buying a piece of the rock and all those other things. They are there to make money for their investors, not for you to be happy. So keep that in mind as we go through this. Because now I've sat on all different sides of the desk, not only as an insured, but also one selling the insurance, and now as a doctor that has to deal with this on a daily basis. And there are so many different programs and plans out there. The coverage that you have is based upon, these are very, very important facts, your condition and your symptoms. And you must be specific on this. You can't say, well, my shoulder, my neck kind of hurts. You want to be really specific. What kind of pain is it? Okay, where does it go? Exactly. How did it happen? When did it start? All these things are extremely important if you want to get them covered properly. You can't be just generalizing things. You have to be very, very specific and very definitive as far as your information. You have to fight for exactly what you're going to be getting. It's not one of those things that you're just going to kind of throw it on the table and they're going to say, okay, that's good. You have to be very specific and precise, as I mentioned, because of the fact that your condition is based upon certain numbers. And these are what are called code numbers, ICD-10 numbers. Now I'm going to show you something. ICD-9 numbers were very, very simple, very, very simplistic. And there are probably hundreds of them, maybe a couple thousand. But I want to show you the new ones. These are ICD-10, okay? I want to show you this. This is your ICD-10 codes, okay? It's about maybe 2.5, 3 inches thick. Thousands of codes. How specific are they? They want to know exactly what segment of the spine is injured. They want to know how you injured yourself. I'd love to read this, but you know, they want to know if you were a pedestrian and you get hit by a car, by a truck, what kind of truck. They want to know if maybe you were hit by a motorcyclist, maybe somebody pushing a cart. It's the craziest of things. They are that specific and that defined. So that means you have to be very specific and defined. You have to let that doctor know exactly what this condition is from. Many of you just say, well, I just woke up with it. But you must have had some symptoms just prior to that. What did you do the day before? Okay? Were you picking up boxes? Were you putting away Christmas things? Did you slip off a ladder? Sometimes things don't show up right away, okay? So you have to remember where these things came from. Yes, we're aging. Yes, we're going to be having aches and pains, so forth and so on. But just this past post-Christmas time, I can't tell you how many people injure themselves putting away Christmas things, slipping off of ladders, bending over, doing all sorts of crazy things. Well, they're not crazy. They're ADLs, what do we call it? Activities of daily living. And these activities of daily living, oftentimes, as we get older, can cause problems, can cause accidents. So again, specificity is extremely important. Now, I'm going to go through a couple of other things here, and that is that if you want the code for fibromyalgia, it is this. So get yourself pen and pencil. I'm going to write it down. Hi, Gail. I'm going to have you write this down because it's very, very important. The code, the ICD-10 code for this is M, as in master or whatever, 79.7. That's M 79.7. Keep that in mind because if you go in with fibromyalgia, you have to have this as part of the code. That's a much better understanding. And that also is very, very interesting because, look, they can't say that there's no such thing as fibromyalgia anymore because it's an ICD-10 code. ICD-10 codes then make it legal for you to have this condition. Keep that in mind. That's very, very important. I'll be mentioning this a couple of different times. So there's Medicare codes, okay? A lot of people that come in have Medicare. I'm going to go over insurance and so forth with you just a little bit with my background. Okay, there's Medicare Parts A and B. A is a $1,340 deductible, but if you have B, that covers most of that, if not all of it. The problem with the Medicare B is you have a deductible, $184 annual deductible. A lot of people don't like to hear that. Sorry about that. But if you don't pay the doctor, he's not going to get paid. And if he doesn't get paid, he's not going to cover you. So that's one of the things that we find that's very disconcerting. Because patients say, well, I'm paying for it already. How come I have to pay the $184 deductible because it's already being taken out of my Social Security per month, $134, give or take a few dollars. That's true. And Gail just says, yes, it's the same for Canada. I'm sorry, I can't answer for you for Canada. I'm just talking United States. My apologies. I do have a few patients that come down, and rather than hassle with it, they just pay like a copay, and that's it when they come in. So I can't answer as far as Canada is concerned. But if you have parts A and B, most of the time, the vast majority of your coverage should be taken care of. And that's really important so that people can feel a little bit more comfortable about that. And you go to just about any doctor that you want to that is signed up with Medicare, and they have to take you. All right, so that gives you a lot more open availability, especially if you're going to be traveling. You know, a lot of us as we mature, if we still have our health, like to go on trips and so forth, that's very, very important because some of the plans, like for example, the Advantage plan, you have to go to specific doctors. Now, I know they have options and different things like that for travel, but if you're, say, for example, out of your network and your doctor is nowhere available and you get sick or whatever, you may have some additional costs. And also, if you're out of say network as they call it, you're going to have to get a referral to go to one of your favorite doctors if you can get it. So if you have real specific doctors you want to go to, the Advantage plan may not be the one for you. You may have to stay with just Medicare Parts A and B. So that gives you the available options to go wherever you want to, so forth and so on. There's other things, but that's a simplistic way to look at it as far as Medicare is concerned. With the Advantage plan, there is a copay, but there's no premium supposedly, and so forth and so on. But on the other hand, that problem as far as the optional availability of going to whomever you want to, wherever you want, wherever you travel, may be a problem. So again, check your policies. And so this is the next thing I'm going to talk about. When you have an insurance policy, you want to find out what you are not covered for. What? I said, you want to find out what you are not covered for. If you're not covered for that, then you are covered for everything else. That's the nice thing about it, okay? So you want to find out what you're not covered for and sit down with your agent, okay, and find out. Now, I have found that there are certain individuals, insurance-wise, that specialize in Medicare. Much more complete, intelligent as far as Medicare is concerned versus just general insurance. So you want to make sure that they have proper certification. They'd have to go through educational training and so forth because you don't want to be stuck with somebody that maybe, just maybe, doesn't have the information that you need, and then you sign up for a policy and all of a sudden, whoops, you're not covered for something. So again, find out what you are not covered for. And that's true for your health insurance, but also for your homeowners, your renters, your auto insurance, so forth and so on. All those things are very, very important for you, okay? So while we're talking about auto insurance, let's take a look at this for a second. Let's had a patient come in, and she transferred from one company to another, and she said, here's my old policy, I want the same coverage. Well, she had an accident. All of a sudden, she found out that she didn't have the same coverage. See, a lot of insurance agents, and I'm sorry, got to tell you this, they're interested in keeping your business by keeping the premiums low. And by how do they do that? They do that by actually maybe cutting some of your coverage. So you got to watch this. You got to watch what you're getting. Make sure you look at your policies. Now, auto insurance. I'm going to explain something to you, especially in Arizona. These are the things that you have to have on your policy: bodily injury, property damage, and uninsured motorist. Those are not for you. Those are for the other people. Hi, Shelley. Those are the other people. These are not for you, okay? So you're covered if by chance you get an accident, it's your fault for bodily injury to the other people, property damage to the other person's property or car, whatever it might be, and uninsured motorist, and that's for somebody who gets in an automobile accident by someone that doesn't have insurance, obviously, in this state. I just had one recently come in, and she got a hit and run, believe it or not. So it has to go under uninsured motorist. So she's banged up pretty good. So when she checked her policy, not only did she not have medical coverage transferred over, but her uninsured motorist went from 300,000 to 15,000, 30,000, which means that would be 15,000 per person up to 30,000 total for an accident. That's no good. Okay, it should have 300,000. And medical coverage on your auto policy is the only thing that covers you and the people in your car. Nothing else, everything else covers the car, that metal monster that you drive, or that cardboard piece of stuff that you're driving around in with rubber wheels and so forth. So you have to make sure that you have medical or med pay. Why is that important? Well, like I say, number one, it covers you and the people in your car. First dollar coverage. Second, it's inexpensive. Jeez, it's probably the most inexpensive thing that you can add on a car. Maybe towing is probably the same, but a lot of people have separate towing coverage, whatever else might be. But medical pay is, my goodness, it's first dollar coverage. Okay, raise your hand. How many people have a medical policy that doesn't have a deductible and pays first dollar coverage? Come on, raise your hands. There isn't any. That's why, okay? If you think you do, you better go check your policy. I don't know of anybody that has first dollar coverage that you're not paying, have to pay some copay or some other form of insurance deductible. Med pay, the minimum is $5,000. I have $50,000 on mine. I love the people that I'm around, my family members and so forth. I want to make sure that they're taken care of properly, whatever it might be. Hey, listen, it doesn't take much for get an injury in an automobile accident. And the way people drive around today, you need everything that you can. Again, it's not expensive. And keep in mind, all those other coverages that you have, they're for the other people. You don't even know them, okay? The med pay is for you, okay, for you in a car. And if you don't have high enough uninsured motorists, then you're back to point zero again. So make sure you check your policy. What did I say? Find out what you're covered for and what you are not covered for, okay? And make sure you have the proper amount and limits. You have to have a trusted insurance agent. Just don't grab somebody just because they're going to save you a couple of bucks. That doesn't help you at all. Now, how about your employee medical insurance or health insurance? Okay, you know he's going to be a deductible. You know there's going to be a copay. You got all these different things, so forth and so on. But the most important thing is that the group insurance policies, and again, these are medical companies. Okay, medical health insurance companies. not medical people themselves, but they are in it for a profit. And so, as an individual out of a large group, let's say you belong to a group of, say, 100 employees, whatever, okay, you're not that important. One person out of 100 is not that important, okay? They're interested in keeping the health policy. That's where the money is at, okay? So, with you have a single voice on something, probably not that important. However, how can you get around that? Well, the easiest way to get around that is go to your employer or find out who is responsible for this policy. There's somebody in the company that actually is responsible for picking and choosing the insurance policy, the group insurance policy, whether it be the office manager, business manager, human resources. Go to that individual and explain to them that you're not being covered properly, or you're being pushed around, whatever, one thing or another, you're not being covered the way you should. But also try to find another person in employment with you that maybe has been hassled also and not being covered properly. Look, you may not have a voice, but if there's more than one person, let's say there's 2, 3, 4 people in a company that are being messed around as far as the group insurance is concerned and not being covered properly. Well, you go to, like I say, whoever wrote the policy, put the pressure on them, and they're the ones that can decide whether or not the next time for renewal, that policy is going to come up for renewal, they're going to pay for it or not, or they're going to go shopping. That's how you get around a problem as far as the not covering you for certain things as far as your group insurance is concerned. So, some important things. Look at your policy, make sure you know what you are not covered for. Medicare, you've got parts A, B, and then the Advantage plan. Parts A and B, you have to pay a deductible, also money taken out of Social Security, but you can go to anybody you want to. This should be covered. Whereas the Advantage plans, you do have a problem as far as whether or not you will be able to go to any doctor that you want to. Usually you're in certain network and so forth and so on. Auto insurance, MedPay is probably the most important thing that you have, because it's the only thing that covers you. And as far as group insurance is concerned, go to the person that writes the checks, that renews the policy, and put the pressure on them. If you could find more people in your employment, in your business, that have had a problem with the insurance, that will cause that insurance company to actually look at your program and make sure that you're taken care of properly. Those are the most important things as far as insurance is concerned. I see it every day in my clinic. So many people come in, they're worried about whether or not they're covered or not. We try to do everything we can to make sure everything is cleared, taken care of properly, and everything that you should be covered for is covered. Matter of fact, the interesting thing about it is that this person with the auto insurance, when she told the company, went beyond the agent, that she requested the same coverage, all of a sudden, bingo, some things have changed. They are actually looking at going back and giving her old coverage, which would be fantastic benefit for her. So, and that was because we put that bug in her ear to make sure that she just doesn't go along with what they say. If you ask for something specific, make sure it is written down, that you have it on file, and actually have the agent sign it also. Anyway, take care, everybody. Oh, by the way, next week this is going to be really interesting also. I'm very excited about this. Research paper just came out, Fibromyalgia syndrome, a case report on controlled remission of symptoms by a dietary strategy. Wait till you see what this entails. It's very, very interesting. I think you'll really enjoy it. Take care, everybody. And hello, doctor. How are you? Yes. Your answer is yes on that question. Anyway, take care. Everybody have a wonderful week. I hope that you learn some new things out of here. Also, you can always check back. I save each and every one of these. So that's the most important thing, that you can go back and look at the previous programs. Or if you, let's say, for example, missed the first 5-10 minutes of this, you can go back and check all of it. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy yourself. Look forward to seeing each and every one of you next week. Bring your family, friends, and so forth and so on. Hey, everybody, every time I give something, I always have some side venues and information that can help each and every one of you as far as your health problems are concerned, since fibromyalgia involves so many other conditions. Take care. Everybody have a wonderful day. Shelley, Gail, Dr. Novakova, take care. Have a wonderful and see you next week. Don't be afraid to call if you need anything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye-bye.